Should the Cockroach Janata Party now become a political party? Welcome, Swagatam, Jai Hind. The struggle undertaken by the instantaneously formed, organic in nature, young people's movement called Cockroach Janata Party has achieved historic, unprecedented, incomparable success. The young people have achieved what nobody else in this country ever thought was or would be possible. A miracle, nothing short of a miracle has happened. And it has wide ramifications, not all of which are evident at this time. But as days go by, as weeks roll by, we will come to know more and more about it. But right at this point in time, a question that's being gradually taken up for discussion is this: should the Cockroach Janata Party now become formally a political outfit? And through this video, I want to make my stand, my opinion clear on this issue. Let me put it very bluntly. I'm absolutely convinced that the Cockroach Janata Party should now become a political party. Maybe they call themselves Cockroach Janata Party without the slightest intention ever of becoming a political party, without seeing any scope whatsoever, even of being able to undertake a movement like this. So, from circumstantial evidence, it seems to me that somehow the force of history is on them, or rather, they are gripped by the force of history. They are carrying out the mandate of history. And this is something that I feel very strongly about. So even if individually the participants in this program do not want to be or do not want to form themselves into a party, they are under a historical imperative to form themselves into a political party. There are two main reasons why I say so. I'll only briefly mention them and conclude this very short video. My main reason for saying this is that if you really analyze the significance of what was being played out at Jantar Mantar, New Delhi, this great standoff between the so-called Cockroach Janata Party and this awesome monolith of the NDA spearheaded by BJP. If you really understand the significance of that face-off, it is nothing but the present against the future. The government in power, the party in power, the present government at the center, they represent the present. Now, the problem with those who champion the present, those who manage the present, those who milk the present, is that they become gradually and completely blind of their duties and obligations by the future. Responsible governance includes a sense of responsibility concerning the future, because a nation is always an agenda in the making. No nation began yesterday and no nation will end tomorrow. A nation is a people who are an unfinished agenda, a people who are making themselves continually. Therefore, there must be a continuous dialogue between the present and the future. That is where the connection between politics and morality rests. And this is a very important point. I would like you to grasp the relevance and significance of it, even in terms of the life of individuals and their actions. How does the ethical or moral component become effective? It's only in terms of consequences. When you talk about consequences, consequences are always in the future. You do something now, you will face the consequence only in the future. So those who choose to act ethically, they will be mindful of the consequences, which means they'll be mindful of the future. Now, the time frame within which individuals live and act is a small one. The time frame within which governments, particularly the government of a big country like India, acts is a big one. And unless and until there is wisdom of governance and true patriotism is commitment to the ongoing commitment to the integrity of the ongoing process of nation building, which definitely connects India as it is today to India as it should become tomorrow and the day after and for the centuries to come. It is this concern for the future that serves as the rudder, the guiding principle for what we should do and what we should not do, how we manage our resources, particularly human resources, and how we deploy our overall resources of the country, etc. Our priorities, policies. When the sense of commitment to the future gets diluted, what happens is that those in power simply succumb to multiple and powerful temptations, mega temptations, and their concern gets reduced only to how much I can make, how smartly and how comprehensively I can gather up everything for myself and maybe also for my party. Unfortunately, for all the wonderful promises and professions or statements issued by Modi and his colleagues in the last 12 years, as a third-party observer, it's very clear to me they got completely bogged down to the lure of the present. Otherwise, the series of examination leaks happening without any action being undertaken, any meaningful action. Not a single person has been actually punished. Some semblance of action, somebody is arrested, etc., but nobody has been convicted yet. Which actually sends a very encouraging message to those who are out to make a fast buck by causing misery to the children, to do whatever they want with the assurance that the consequences of what they do will not visit them. So therefore, the secret or the reason for the real failure of the BJP and NDA is that they have become blind to the future of India. Now, for example, any government which is concerned about the future of India will prioritize education. After all, everybody agrees in this country, everybody agrees globally that the main determinant of development is education. Education is managing the resources of the country today with an eye to the future, committing yourself firmly to the India of our dreams. Though great noise was generated about New India, what really would make all the beneficial difference you can imagine, which is education, secondly, health. If you look at the budgetary allocation, this government has actually walked backwards. That's one reason I'm telling you, with all the conviction I'm capable of, that the NDA government, like governments before them, perhaps a little more than governments before them, became blind to the future of India. It is here that I read the significance of the Cockroach Janata Party, the Gen Z party. For young people, the future matters. For the young people, perhaps the future matters even more than the present. That is the reason why they took an inflexible stand. They were not willing to come down to any compromise whatsoever. They stood up to all the pressures you can imagine. The government tried its level best, used every trick known to them in order to demoralize them, in order to enfeeble the protests, in order to prevent people from reaching the site, so on and so forth, prevent even food from being supplied to them, food and water. Every trick was tried, including the stronger measures of the hard state, unleashing the brutality of the so-called law enforcing agencies in order to overwhelm the youth of India with brute force. Everything failed because, let this be clearly understood, that only the youth of India will be committed to the future of India. In my opinion, there is no political party in this country, either in the ruling coalition or among the opposition parties, that is as clearly committed to the future of India, or can be as clearly and emphatically committed to the future of India as the Cockroach Janata Party. Simply because there's a youth movement, an organic youth movement, the cementing factor being their concern for, to begin with, their own welfare, but understanding also that their welfare can be ensured only in a country that is progressing along the right track. So I see in the Cockroach Janata Party the potential for a future-oriented political force, which in my opinion is the greatest, most crying need of India. If India does not have that futuristic orientation, we will lose our way in the bylanes of corruption, mega corruption, and even though the BJP claims to be a party with a difference, perhaps as of today, the only difference is that it practices corruption on a far greater scale than any other party. So, let's be very clear about it. The Cockroach Janata Party, which is now only a spontaneous, organic young people's movement, should become a political party in the true sense of the term, with one caveat, with one clear condition, and that is they should remain unwaveringly committed to the future. And they should preserve this commitment even after they get into this quagmire of politics, power brokering, and the lure of money, corruption, etc. On that condition, I would like the Congress, the Cockroach Janata Party to become an authentic, formal political party. There is a second reason why I want this party to become a real party. Now it's only a party in name, but I want this to become a party in effect as well. Now, let me share that reason with you from a very different angle. What we have seen in the last 12 years is the BJP balkanizing various political parties, using or misusing straight instrumentalities like the ED and income tax, and to some extent even the CBI, all the rest of it. Now, while everybody cries hoarse about it, my thought goes in another direction. Why should the leaders of these opposition parties become so weak and vulnerable, so that one visit by the ED makes them run to the BJP for cover, and then say that the BJP is what is that? A machine, a washing machine, where the political sins of all those who intend to join them would be washed clean. To me, the primary issue is not that Modi is misusing the state instruments, though that is a problem. It's immoral, in no way justifiable. But that's not the primary issue. The primary issue for me is that these political leaders, leaders of various opposition political parties as of now, they are seriously compromised. Therefore, they don't have the backbone, they don't have the guts to stand up to it. For example, Manish Sisodia, to use a contrary illustration, came under tremendous pressure from CBI to join the BJP. He was told, and this is something that Manish Sisodia proclaimed to the whole country. I'm not inventing anything. When he was arrested by the CBI, they told him up front, if you join the BJP and you bring along a few more MLAs, you will assuredly be the Chief Minister of Delhi and we'll give you everything that you want. Why could he stand up to it? Because he is comparatively clean. Unfortunately, those parties that have been in power with states or at the center for a period of time have many, many leaders whose track record in personal integrity in public life is not particularly enviable. Now, with that in mind, if you look at the Cockroach Janata Party, you will see something refreshingly different. Here you have a set of clean people. And it's because they are absolutely clean that they could stand up to it. Courage goes with purity. The moment you are compromised, you become a coward. To be compromised is to become a coward. To be pure is to be powerful. And what we have seen played out in the capital city of India is the political power of purity. And that to me is a very significant thing. That's the greatest asset you can ever imagine in a democracy. Here, let's remember the Mahatma, the father of the nation, Gandhiji, Bapuji. He talked about the power of truth. As Jesus did. Jesus said, the truth will set you free. Do you want to be free? Better be truthful. Do not squander the real strength you have, which is living a truthful life. As of now, the only group with which we can associate the power of purity is the Cockroach Janata Party. And believe you me, that's the reason why Modi and his associates feared them. They would have very easily handled any other political outfit which lacks the strength. And when I look far and wide, I don't see any political outfit, including the Congress, which has this tremendous power, the power of purity. I rejoiced in the spectacle of young people standing up and facing the full might of a hard state as the power of purity. It is this that India needs. I see the future of India hinging on this, the power of purity in politics. And that's precisely what we have squandered. We have created post-truth politics, which is simply a euphemism for erecting the entire superstructure of politics on the flimsy, brittle foundation of falsehood. How can you have the National Testing Agency, NTA, do an honest job in a country which has wholeheartedly accepted the post-truth politics, a whole way of life which has rejected truth from its midst? Why can't we understand the very obvious thing? I don't expect anything else from the NTA. I don't expect that if a new Minister of Education or Human Resource Development is appointed, everything will be hunky-dory. the National Testing Agency will do a clean job. I don't have the slightest expectation because we have rejected truth from our midst. Truth plays no role in our way of life. Falsehood, utter lies, untruth is our guiding light. By our common consent, it's not a hidden thing. Everybody says. How can you have an honest agency in this country? So if there is any hope this country can have, that's something like a return to the way of Gandhi, the path of truth, which is also the path of ahimsa, non-violence, which alone can play a role in building a healthy society, constituting a firm foundation for nation building. It's only through a clean, young, new blood group like the Cockroach Janata Party. And therefore, I consider this to be the greatest national asset. And if the people of India have any common sense, if they have at least some sense of inspired self-interest, they will attach their heart to this new hope that's born in our midst. And before I conclude, I'm also inclined to say that the greatest significance of the movement at Jantar Mantar is the birth of hope. The birth of hope. I'll deal with the subject in another video. And let me conclude this video by repeating and emphasizing my stand that the Cockroach Janata Party must no longer stay an informal, lobby, a political power group, which will suit the convenience of the powers that be. They should now have the courage to come forth and transform themselves into a proper political party, but remain true and faithful to the core idea around which this whole thing has cohered and assumed shape. I wish all of them the very best. I wish the youth of India great days ahead. But then I also need to tell them, great days will not fall into their lap accidentally. You have to work towards creating the India where your aspirations will be recognized, valued, and given effect to. Nobody is going to do that for you. You have to do it for yourself. It's not merely cleansing the education system, which is an extremely important agenda. You have to also become mindful of the need to cleanse our way of life. After all, in Hinduism, God is understood as truth. Christianity says God is love. Islam says God is justice. Hinduism says God is truth. Then how come that this country, where 82% of the people are Hindus, who have great respect for their religion, a religion which tells them that God is truth, how come that in this country we have a political culture which is erected entirely on untruth? That is the issue. That is the core issue. And if there is any group of people or any would-be political party that can address this issue, it's not BJP, it's not Congress. It is only the Cockroach Janata Party. And any person, no matter what his age, what her age, or gender, wonder, whatever, who cares for the future of India, will attach himself, herself wholeheartedly to you. Even an old man like me would. I will undergo any sacrifice in promoting your cause to the extent that I can. I would earnestly urge you to not waste any further time and to form yourself into a formal political party with a clear vision and an uncompromising mission to build the India of our dreams. Jai Hind.